Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good day. Whenever you are seeing this, I hope you are good. So today guys, we're going to be talking about what to do in those moments when you're asking yourself, should I have a conversation with someone or should I just walk away, ghost them completely, not even worry about speaking my piece? Under one of my recent videos, someone asked, what about when you're in a situation and you rather just, move on versus sitting down and having a conversation with someone, and asked how I felt about this. I definitely wanted to answer this question, but I was like, you know what? Let me do it in a chit chat video because I'm sure more people have that inner discussion with themselves all the time whenever we go through conflict, issues, friendships, romance, family. You ask yourself a lot, should I speak up about this? When is the right time to speak up? And when is the right time to just remove yourself from someone's life altogether? So we're going to be talking about when you should speak up just in general, and also when you've reached the end of a relationship, how do you know when is it time for you to speak up or to not speak up, to just kind of wash your hands with the situation and move forward. Of course, guys, make sure you check the description box for all of the new ways that you can connect with me. I am doing releasing sessions, full releasing and mini releasing sessions, where we do a reading together to figure out what is holding you back. I think a releasing session is great to do as we enter the end of the year. Just if you know you've experienced a lot of things this year, which we all have, and you need a little bit of assistance navigating through it, you can definitely book a releasing session with me. And also, guys, the tarot course is officially online. If you've been wanting to learn tarot with me and you haven't had the chance, check out the description box to see where you can purchase the self-led tarot course. You'll have access to the full tarot guide, a 21-day tarot challenge, all 5 virtual recorded sessions. So make sure you guys tap into that, and you can book a session with me, listen to the podcast, the book club, all of that tea is in the description. Make sure you stop by the description to see the tea and what's going on and how you guys can connect with me. But let's go ahead and get into this conversation. So for me, the only really thing that matters, I feel, whenever you're asking yourself to ghost or not to ghost, to speak or not to speak, to have the conversation or to not, to reconcile or to not, to share your truth or to not, I think it's important to ask yourself if you can live knowing that you had an opportunity or maybe a space to share your truth and you didn't. I've been in spaces where I needed to share my truth and I haven't, and I just kind of walked away and exited somebody out of my life. I've been in spaces where, I wanted to share my truth and somebody didn't hear it and I had to walk away. I've been in spaces where I've shared my truth and it went well, and where I've shared my truth and it didn't go well. So I've experienced all spectrums of, speaking my piece. And I will say that the effort that it takes when you speak your piece, for me, helps me have closure, knowing that I did what I could do to save a relationship or save a connection. Now, if I'm ever in spaces where I've been abused, people have not, done right by me, people have taken advantage of me, and I've had to move on and heal. And maybe in the current situation, when we were together or when we were in a friendship, this person couldn't hear me out, or I tried to speak to this person several times over the course of knowing them, and they've always downplayed my feelings or gaslit me. Once I finally move on from that, there is no more conversation to be had, So I also think it's important to recognize whenever you're working to heal or make peace or seek any type of closure about a relationship, about a connection, it's just about you. It's not really about you and that person. It's only about you. You might think that it's about you, like, oh, you want to remain friendly or cordial with this person. But why though? It's because you would be more comfortable if y'all were cordial. So it's always about you and making sure that you have peace about the way that the situation, came to an end. So I think it's important to ask yourself what that looks like for you. Some people don't really need to speak up. They can speak up or not, but either way, they'll be able to release it. Some people like to speak up no matter what, whether the person on the other end is going to hear them or not. I kind of like to do something in the middle where I kind of give an opportunity for a conversation, but I'm not going to force the conversation, and I'm not going to press the issue after I've already healed and moved on from something. And that's definitely how I feel about it 110%. When it comes to opening up old wounds and kind of going down, cycles that might lead you right back in the same space of depression or anxiety that you once were when you were initially, faced with a certain problem or a certain issue with someone, that is a lot of spiritual and emotional energy. It's very taxing. Releasing on your own is exhausting. Imagine having to release with another person. This is why so many times in relationships and friendships, after there's so much done on either side, you just have to part ways. You can reach a point where there is no conversation to be had, and it doesn't matter what you say or what you do, you both won't see eye to eye. I think that's something also to ask yourself as well. Whenever you're wondering if you should have a conversation with someone, do you know anything about this person's conflict resolution style? Is this person open for conversations? Does this person get, overwhelmed or uncomfortable when you're giving them criticism? Are you not sure how you should approach this person? Have you ever tried, texting or, writing a letter to this person about how you feel versus having a conversation with them? How important is it to you that this person knows how you feel? Because for me, it's not really important that everybody knows how they hurt me, because for me, I have to know that I'm going to get something out of that from that person. Like, it's not about me saying, oh, you've hurt me, really doesn't benefit me saying, oh, you've hurt me, and then watching someone treat me better, that's how that would kind of benefit my life. But if I'm at a point where I don't want this person in my life anymore, even if I tell you everything and you're ready to just become this perfect person that I need, I don't want you in my life anymore. I don't want to go any further with you, even if it can be exactly what I never thought it could be. Even if this conversation changes everything, I don't want it anymore. And I think that a lot of times we can get to that point and we're trying to weigh the balance of, should I open my soul to this person one more time, and try to reason with them one more time? Because the chances are you've been leaving breadcrumbs or having conversations with this person about how you've been feeling, or maybe you've just been trying to, just showcase through your energy, or this person has been asking you what's going on. I know something's different. Maybe you haven't even said anything. Maybe they're picking up on your energy and you feel this pressure like, should I say something? Should I say something? I think it's important to ask yourself, are you going to get what you need from that? Because I'm not the type of person, I don't like to spill my guts unless something's coming from it. I don't see a point in spilling my guts and letting someone know exactly how they've hurt me and broke me down, unless we're going to be moving forward in a healthy relationship, unless, this is going to change how this person treats me. Because a lot of flaws that people have are not a lot of flaws. All flaws that people have are their flaws. So chances are, if you have to tell someone that they've disrespected you, that they violated you, that they haven't been giving you what you need, you saying that isn't going to change them overnight. A lot of times we have this expectation that we have a conversation with someone and they're going to change or things are going to get better. Not necessarily. You can have that talk and things can stay the same. They might be thinking about it and asking themselves, what do I do? What do I do? But you don't know what that person's dealing with. You don't know what's happened in their past, so the best conversation and the best communicator, no matter how good you are, y'all know me, I have the gift of gab. I still have to choose to hold my tongue in certain situations when I know that there is really nothing more to be said, when I know that there is nothing more to be done. And it hurts, of course, because when you have the ability to communicate how you're feeling, all you want is to be heard and to reach resolution, because the only thing that's stopping a resolution is effective communication. That's the only thing that ever stops two people, two parties from, resolving their issues, effective communication. And if you feel like you can express how you're feeling in a way that's going to convey what you need, if you feel like you're open to that reciprocation, open to hear what they have to say, you're ready to change, you're ready to accept them as they change, and you feel like the person on the other end is not ready to do that, then you have to ask yourself, is it even worth it? I do sometimes think that it is worth it to have conversations with people just so we can kind of see once and for all. Like, let me tell y'all this little story. I was in a situation with someone and I had told them before, certain things that you do triggers me in A, B, C, and D way. When these things happen, I would like for you to do A, B, C, and D. So I had this conversation with this person and I was like, okay, let me see what happens the next time A, B, C, and D happens. If this person is going to remember the things that I told them that I need, or if they're just going to kind of overlook it. Of course, not too long after that conversation, we were in a space where a situation happened and I wanted this person to show up for me differently, and they didn't. And I told them about it. I was like, hey, this wasn't okay for me. This made me feel this way. I feel like you should apologize. I feel like you should, I already told you how this hurts me. You've done it again. I think I'm owed an apology. This person didn't want to apologize. So if I recognized how we had the conversation and they didn't listen, if I didn't say anything after I saw they didn't listen, maybe I would have kept this person in my life because I would have been thinking, oh, maybe they just forgot about the conversation, or maybe, they want to, show up for me, but they're not really sure how. The benefit of the doubt can really keep you in spaces that a conversation will release you from, So if you're giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, or if you're just feeling like, I'm not sure, have the conversation, because I guarantee you they're either going to say, yes, you're right, I really don't give a fuck about you, or they're going to be like, I actually care, and I'm sorry that it came off that way. How can we work towards a resolution, It's always worth it, I think, to have the conversation if you can do it in a way that's going to serve you not necessarily serve you, because it might not serve you, if you can do it in a way that's going to preserve your mental health. Because sometimes these conversations can be very triggering. If you have someone who's abused you, someone who has typically, always just manipulated you and taken advantage of you, having a conversation about your feelings and being like disregarded can be very, very triggering. If you have issues with codependency, addiction, unhealthy coping mechanisms, these things can actually push you to make bad decisions, to self-sabotage. So don't necessarily trigger and traumatize yourself for nothing. If you know that it's going to mess with your mental and spiritual well-being to have a conversation with someone because you know it's going to hurt you deeply or affect you deeply, or you're not ready to face the facts of what happened, or you're having trouble even accepting, what transpired between you and this person, definitely don't feel pressured to have a conversation. If that's the case, then don't do it. If it's at the expense of your mental health, I don't care who it is, don't do it. If you have to have the conversation, if you feel you really, really need to heal, because maybe this is a talk you have to have with a parent or with a sibling, or, with the parent of your child, or even with your child, go to therapy, get some help, so you can figure out a way to best articulate what you have to say, because the conversation is not just about them. Like I said in the beginning, it's about you. You do that release so you feel better. You can release someone and feel like you've had a conversation with them without ever doing it. That's why we do releasing rituals, where we write a letter and burn it. Now, your therapist might have told you to do this. I feel like Oprah has suggested people to do this on her show. You write a letter to someone and you burn it. And when you write that letter, you speak to them as if you were having a conversation with them. And when you burn that letter, and once you kind of read what you wrote and burn it, it feels like you just had that talk. It feels like you just were able to express what you needed to say. So I think that that's important too. Don't feel like you have to sit down with an abuser, with someone who's violated you, with someone who was mentally unwell themselves and they can't hear you. Someone is a sociopath or a narcissist. If someone is, known for manipulating and twisting your words, don't feel like you have to have a conversation with this person. Try doing a releasing ritual. Try writing it down and burning it, and I guarantee you that will give you some peace. It might not give you all the peace, because sometimes, and I'm also, again, I've experienced all spectrums of this. I also have conversations that I know I need to have with people, and I know I'm never going to be able to have them. I'm never going to be able to have these conversations. And maybe I will change my mind because I'm young. So maybe in 20 or 50 years, I'll be wanting to have these conversations. But for me right now, I know that there are certain things that I need to say or should say, or certain parts of me would like to say that I know I'll never say. I'll never have conversations with certain people about certain things because I've moved on from it. And even though you might deserve a big F you got me F'd up, maybe I deserve to do that to you. Maybe I would have grounds to do that to you. But I don't want to, and me doing that really won't serve me. If anything, just allowing myself to be emotionally vulnerable, because anger is just as, powerful as being in a space where you can feel compassion or friendship or love or loyalty towards someone. So I don't want to purposefully open up situations that will scar me or set me back when I know I'm working on myself. And also, like I said, when I know nothing is going to come of it, you have to understand what's going to give you the best result. Sometimes the communication will give you the best result depending on what you need. If you need an example of, does this person mess with me or not? Does this person love me or not? And you have some things that are making you doubt, like I said, give this person the benefit of the doubt, or feel like maybe they didn't understand me. Have the conversation. Have the conversation and see how they respond to you. They're either going to respond with love, or they're going to respond playing you and making you feel like a fool, making you feel like, dang, this is why I don't talk to you in the first place. Sometimes you have to do that so you can learn once and for all, so there is no doubt, there is no confusion in your mind. Sometimes, if not sometimes, all the time, if you want to move forward and have the relationship with somebody, you have to have a conversation. If you want to move forward, it's always worth it, because you have to know if you can even communicate with this person, or if you can't. And I've had friendships that have crumbled because we couldn't have a difficult conversation. Relationships too, so you have to understand, can we communicate? Can we figure out what I need to do better, what you need to do better, and serve each other in a better way? If you're avoiding a conversation with a friend because you know that conversation is going to be the end of y'all, have the conversation. Have a conversation, because something else is going to happen. Like, you can't avoid confrontation with people. You can't avoid having conversations and letting people know how they affect you, because chances are you're going to be triggered more in the future. Problems don't go away. They're going to fester, or they're going to be dealt with and released, and you'll be able to use that energy for something else. But That's important to think about as well. If you want to move forward in a relationship, it's always best to have the conversation. Even if it goes bad, you need to see that, because you need to know if you need to move forward with that person. And it might take you some time to, accept, like, I just need to do this even if it ends bad, because I need to know no matter what. But, just have that in the back of your mind, that, like, eventually have the talk. Eventually have the talk. Like I said, if you're in a space where you feel like this conversation is going to damage you mentally, and there are things that you would want to discuss, but you feel like it's going to cause you pain or trauma, especially if you want to share something with someone and you're going to be gaslit, you do not have to have that conversation. It might be better for you to write it down and release it. It might be better for you to let it go. Also, if you know that someone isn't in a space where they can hear you because maybe they're dealing with stuff, or they're emotionally or spiritually unwell, they're not really in a space where they can hear you, challenge yourself to think about different ways that you can communicate with them. Something that I like to do, and I'm basically a fucking therapist at this point, because I did go to school for psychology, honey, don't play. I just didn't graduate, but I did go 3 years, okay? So don't play. I got plenty of wisdom from them classes. So it's like, I like to kind of lead people to their problems sometimes, versus point out all of the things that they're doing wrong. Because in a relationship, especially for me, now you guys might not feel this way, but for me, I am a healer. I am a healer. I am a teacher. I'm very, very wise. There shouldn't be anybody around me that's not in a good relationship, that's not taking care of their mental, that, isn't positive about where they're going. Even if you have a bad day or whatever, because I have bad days too. But for the most part, you should be put together, because I'm put together. And if you're my friend, I can help you out in any way, shape, or form, and I will do that. Like, the people that I consider my friends, I don't let a couple of days go by that I don't check in with them and say, hey, how you doing? Maybe you should try this. Are you doing okay? Like, whether you want to listen or not is on you. But as a friend, I'm always going to try to pour into you and, connect with you. And sometimes if you know that someone is dealing with a lot of things in their own life, you might not want to tell them, hey, you're not being a good friend to me, or what you're doing is bothering me. Because if someone has shut you out, if someone is just not being their usual self and it's impacting how you're connecting with them, chances are they're not happy. Chances are that they are suffering as well. So I think it's important to recognize when others are suffering, and recognize, one, maybe you need to take a step back from this person and give them some space and just kind of love them from a distance if their energy is really affecting you in a negative way, because you should not be anybody's punching bag. So if somebody is really suffering mentally and they just can't be a friend to you, take some space. Send them a few affirmations, or, pray for them from a distance, or check in with them, but let them know your energy is a lot for me lately. I'm dealing with a lot on my own, and we're either going to have to find another way to connect, or I can just kind of, give you space to deal with what you're dealing with, and I can support you from a distance. And hopefully in, like, a month or so, you're feeling a little bit better, and we can talk about how I can support you better. How can I support you is a question that I often ask my friends if I feel like we're not connecting. What's going on with you, and how can I support you in that, so you can be a better friend to me, and also so I can be a better friend to you. Because if you're suffering and I'm in a space where I can be a healer, how can I take care of you? And also, as a healer, the people that I want to heal are the people that are the closest to me. So a friend can never really take advantage of my healing energy unless they're just, asking me for advice, dumping on me, and not doing anything to change themselves, but I never attract people like that. Thank you, Jesus. So most of the times, if I have people in my life, we can have open conversations about what they're experiencing, and I'll be open with them too. If I feel like they can help me out, I'll definitely be open with them as well. But I think it's important to recognize, okay, I need to approach this person in a different way. I know that this person isn't being their best self right now, and I know it's not about me. I know it's not about our friendship. I know they have other stuff going on. So how can I help them dump? How can I help them release? Do we need to have a vent session? Do we need to have a journaling night? What can I do to better show up for this person? That could be a conversation to have sometimes as well. If you feel like there's a disconnect, but you're not really sure, where it's coming from. I think it's important to know who you're dealing with when you're asking yourself, should I have a conversation? I think it's important to know how strong your relationship is with this person. I think it's important to know if this person is able to communicate in effective ways. I think it's important to know how you're going to be affected, whether the conversation goes well or bad. And I think it's important to know if it's worth it to you to move on and not have the conversation and not know how it would have gone. Because there are spaces where I have regret, because I feel like, a friendship crumbled because I couldn't have a conversation, or maybe the other party didn't want to have a conversation. And I love my friends, I treat my friends like family. I've always struggled with wanting community and wanting people around me, that are on the same accord as me. So for me, losing people is always going to hurt. And I'm always going to want to have a conversation. But in my younger years, I wasn't really able to articulate myself and how I was feeling. I wouldn't really know why something bothered me. I wouldn't really know how to say what I was experiencing. And unfortunately, I had people in my life where, the mess was rolling. They loved drama, they loved mess. So if sometimes people like to bicker, and if you can have a chance to bicker with someone, sometimes you rather bicker than solve the issue. So I think I've come across a lot of people who kind of like to bicker, and that's important too, like to know, because some people will just bicker with you no matter what you bring them, whether it's in a perfectly written letter, a package, or whatever. They're going to bicker no matter what. Like I said, it's important to know who you're talking to. But sometimes, even if I have to walk away because I know this person isn't going to give me what I need, it still sucks. Because I loved you once upon a time. I wanted you to be my friend for life once upon a time. So even if I do have to walk away, it's still going to hurt, and I'm still going to have to make peace with it. But at least I know that I did what I could. And now I always try to have a conversation, because even if someone isn't mature enough to have the talk, then I need to see that firsthand. I don't want to just assume if I try to tell them about this, they ain't even want to hear it. And I feel like that was my thing. Like, I just knew for a fact that what I had to say wouldn't be heard. I knew for a fact that if I did speak up, I would lose all my friends. And I didn't speak up, and I lost all my friends anyway. So maybe I should have lost them a little bit earlier. You know what I'm saying? So whatever's going to happen is going to happen eventually, whether you speak up or not. The tides are going to fall where they may. The things are going to unfold as they need to. So just make sure that you're doing what you need to do so you can feel at peace, so you can feel like you're not holding on to grudges, so you can feel like you're not holding on to what could have been or what should have been. It's always better to just get that confirmation, and sometimes a talk is what's needed to do that. And you can definitely do some throat chakra work. I recommend singing to yourself, talking to yourself, sitting in front of your phone camera like I'm doing right here, making a video, getting comfortable with your voice, getting comfortable with expressing, this is how I'm feeling, this is what you've done, and I get it. I have such a terrible block, when it comes to speaking my truth. It still bothers me now when I have to have hard conversations, but I fight through it because I realize now that it's worth it to have the conversation and really have peace versus constantly wondering, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Like, it will haunt you literally for so much longer when you do the right thing versus when you are wondering, did I make the right choice? And sometimes the right choice is to walk away without a conversation. But again, it's all up to you, and the decisions depend on the type of relationship that you want moving forward, whether you want this person in your life or not. If you can handle not talking to them and healing it on your own, if you feel like that will be sufficient for you, then go for it. But there's a lot of different ways to kind of resolve needing to have conversations and wondering if you should or should not. So keep those things in mind as you are wondering, how you communicate with people, and if you should or when you should and when you should just walk away. So yes, guys, that was the video. If you guys have any questions about communication, then please leave them down below in the comment section. I appreciate you guys, and I hope this gave you some insight about how you can move forward in communication and, when to know if you should have those conversations or walk away. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I thank you guys for being here. Make sure you check down below in the description box to step into the tarot course, the releasing sessions, the regular sessions with me, all of that, and then some. But I appreciate y'all. I will see you guys very soon. And by the way, the Pixie Apothecary Black Friday sale is going to be starting on Monday, this Monday coming up. So if you guys are interested in shopping the herbal shop Pixie Apothecary, then definitely get into it. But I appreciate y'all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Bless.